So today we're going to cover up the inheritance. Now, what is actually inheritance is all about? We have studied the class and object. If you want to refer class and object, you can refer the previous video of the lecture. On that class and object video, we have discussed how to introduce classes, how to make object of the classes and use that object to get the attributes, get the functions within the classes. Okay, and the benefits and all of the details are there in the previous video. Now, in this video, we're gonna understand in this lecture that how we can connect more than two classes all together. For example, you have a class built-in. Now you want to enhance some properties into that class. So how you can do this? This concept is brought up through inheritance. Now what is actually inheritance is? It is linking of two or more classes with each other. Okay, the previously built or the main class is known as the base class, and the derived class means so whatever we are calling the functionalities of the base class, that class is known as the derived class. Okay, so there are two classes, one is the base class, one is the derived class. Now there are different types of inheritance, so basically we will discuss two types of inheritance. One is single inheritance and second is multiple inheritance. Okay, so first of all we'll go with the single inheritance. So just move ahead with single inheritance. See, over here you can see there is a class, my class. Okay, it has a function method one, which includes the print function over here inside this, and there is another class that is child class, and inside this class we have called the base class, that is my class. Now child class becomes the derived class, and we have called the base class over here. Okay, now when we are calling this, when we are defining method 2, now when we create an object of child class, then we have access to both the functions of the base class as well as of the derived class. We have access to both the functions because all the functionalities of the base class has been derived into the derived class. Okay, so let us try this. So here we come, and we'll just make another file out of it. No, first of all, we'll make a class, maybe fruit. Okay, this is a class fruit, and inside this, we're gonna may define a function or may have some attributes, whatever you want. For example, I will take up some attribute first. Let it be banana. Banana equals to let it be 12. Okay, so there are 12 bananas inside this fruit class. This is what we have defined, and now we have missed apple, for example. So what I can do, I can make a class apple, and I can make it as a derived class of fruit. So I need to call fruit right over here. So this is how we just introduce, like over here, my class. You can see child class, my class. Similarly, apple is the derived class and fruit is the base class. Okay, now inside this we're gonna just introduce something like there are 5 pieces of apple. Apple equals to 5. Okay, so this is the thing. Now if we make the object of maybe fruit class, okay, so f may be the object name, that is the variable f, and inside that I will just declare fruit as an object. Okay, now I want to access this banana over here. How many bananas are there? I want to print it, so I will just print f dot banana, and I must get the data of the banana. So I will just execute this code. Python./webinar 3.0 session 3 day 2. Okay. So you can see we are getting 12. Okay. Now I would love to get the data of apple, but I have introduced the object of class fruit. Now, if I want to make with this object, if I want to access apple, this is not possible. It will throw you an error. So just see to it. It will throw you an error that fruit object has no attribute apple. Why this happened? Because this fruit is the base class and it is not connected. Means this class is not derived from any other classes. But if we create an object of apple, then what happens? It has the access of the fruit class, and we can access banana also through the object of apple. I will just show you. We have made another app object like a equals to apple, object of apple we have created, class apple. Now we wanna print first of all a dot apple. Okay. Now when we execute this, you can see we have already done this, so it will give us the exact data 5. Okay. Now I will just copy this and paste this, and I will just provide over here banana. Now I'm accessing banana through A. So when I just execute this code, you can see I'm getting the banana value also, that are 12. So this is what simple or single inheritance is all about. One base class and one derived class. This is the simplest way of inheriting things. Now you can do anything, any of the things, like if you have functions, you can inherit the functions. If you have constructors, you can inherit the constructors. Okay, like I have a function def let it be mango. Okay, so I have done def mango, and inside that I'm gonna pass on like print mango, and let it be a string. Okay, method mango has no argument, we can ignore this, not required. Okay, no argument, it is required. We need to give the argument self over here. Self is actually it's denoting the instance of the thing. So now if I want to access this mango right over here, I can access it through directly over here, like a dot mango, then a function call. So when we execute this, just let it get saved, and we will just execute this. So it will give us mango. You can see it is giving us mango. So this is how we can use it. Now if you want to use the constructor, like if I define the constructor, sorry, this is not definition of the constructor. Let's go init. Okay, and we'll just remove this, and I will just denote like self dot b equals to banana. Okay, self dot b equals to self dot banana. So I have what I've done. I have just taken the value of banana and stored it in b. So if I if this constructor is not called, though, so b will not be initialized. So I will show you this. So now what happens? These two are linked. Sorry, these two are linked. These two classes are linked. Now if I make the make a call of this over here, so I will just comment this. The object of apple is there, and now I will just print. We'll just remove over here, and I will just print a dot b. Now b is the argument, and I'm just printing this. Okay, so I will just execute this. You can see we are getting 12. We are getting 12. Now why this happened? When we executed this and when we created the derived class, so automatically the constructor has been called right over here. Okay, the constructor has been called and it has been initialized, and we are getting the data. Okay, so this is the methodology of things. So this is how it happens. Now, if we want to do something like multiple inheritance, how to take multiple classes all together, connect multiple classes, you can consider something like, I will just show you, like this is the base class, and out of this base class, this is one derived class. Okay, I believe I have made a mistake right away here. This is not multiple, it is different inheritance, it's a multi-level inheritance. I will just put it up. These are the base classes, maybe two, maybe three. These are the base classes, and all base classes are connected to one derived class, and this is what multiple inheritance is denoted. Okay, the previous inheritance was a hierarchical structure. It's a one base class and multiple derived classes. That was a hierarchical inheritance. So now this is a multiple inheritance over here. You can see we have multiple values, multiple base classes and one derived class. So I will just erase this now. So let us take an example of that. So you can see over here, we have a class base 1, a class base 2, a derived class base 1 and base 2. So with commas, we're going to call this base 1 and base 2 classes all over here. Now every classes has its constructor. Okay, the constructor of this base 1 is over here, the constructor of base 2 is over here, the constructor of base means derived class is over here. Now we have called the constructor of base 1 and base 2 inside the constructor of derived class. Okay, so what happens if we are not calling over here? In previous case, what we have seen, that directly it was introduced. Okay, but why it was introduced? Because we didn't have any constructor in this class. Sorry, we are not having any constructor in this class, so it is by default it's taking initialization of the constructor. But over here we need to initialize the constructor as per our requirement. Okay, for example, we want to initialize the base 1 constructor first, and then base 2 constructor second, and then we want to print within constructor of derived class. So this is the way it will be working. Now it should, one thing you need to remember, it should be introduced inside the constructor of derived class, because whenever the derived class object is called, directly what happens, it will just show you the constructor. Okay, this is what it goes on over here. So you need to be very careful of this. I'm sorry. Okay, so we are here. So we'll just take up this thing and we'll just introduce this. Now I have forgotten to write that this topic is of inheritance. I will just write it down over here. And this is simple inheritance. Similarly, over here, it is multiple inheritance. Like, we will just start up like we have class. It is A class A, and inside that we're gonna have an constructor def double underscore init, and inside the constructor we'll just print constructor of A. Okay, so this is what we have printed over here. Now similarly we're gonna do this for other things also, like we have class B, and we'll have def double underscore init inside that self, and we're going to print constructor of B. Now we're gonna have a derived class, let it be D class B, and inside that we're gonna have A comma B. So this is how we're gonna calling the construct derived class in the base classes into derived class A comma B. Now we're gonna have a constructor of this like def double underscore init, and inside that we're gonna pass on self, and now we'll just print it on constructor of C. Now what I have done now to make you understand that until and unless we just use means so we just whenever we are calling this or making the object of D, until and unless we are calling this A and B class constructor, it doesn't get initialized. Okay, so I will just show you. I'm just making the object of D. So let it be test. I'm just confused with the variable names. So D, and we are making the object of D. And now we'll just after making the object, I believe this will introduce the constructor in by default. So I will just execute this. So you can see we are getting the constructor over here. I will just exclude these parts, just comment it all around. Okay, so now it will be a better understanding of things. So I'll just execute it. You can see whenever I make the object of this, directly it executes the constructor of this, but it doesn't execute the constructors of this. This is what I was telling. When I am calling this passing on this function, it is not having any constructor, so it has been not been initialized. So directly it is initializing this constructor when I'm calling this. Okay. So right now, what I will do, I will just call the constructor of A and B right over here. So how we can call this? We'll just call B dot double underscore init, and we're gonna pass on. So that's it. Okay. So when we are doing this and executing the code, so let us see what happens. You can see we are getting the constructor of B first. Similarly, if we do this for A dot double underscore init, and inside that if we pass on the self, so it will call you A constructor. So we can call up the constructor as per our requirement, and we have done nothing. We have made only the object of D, but automatically A constructor has been initialized and B constructor has been initialized. So did you understood this? Just let me know in the comment section. Did you understood this logic? Okay, I hope you understood this. Well and good. So now we will move forward with the things. Now we have, sometimes we get this is encapsulation. Now what is encapsulation? Encapsulation, you can tell it over here like hiding of the data or making the data more secure. Okay, like you have 1,000 rupees. Now you have 1,000 rupees, but what people does, few amount they just secure it and put it in the bank account so that no one else knows that he's getting that amount, and he's saving it for his future. So he's encapsulating the amount, right? He's securing the amount. So at that position, for example, he's securing 200. So everyone is knowing that he's getting 800. Okay, the final output of the data. But actually, he's securing 200 rupees somewhere. So that is what data encapsulation is. If you want to make some data, some variable secure, and if you want to only use it somewhere, but it's the variable from where it is coming or what calculation it is doing, you don't want to tell people that people get access to that data. So for that we use data encapsulation. Now I will just show you what is actually it means. I will just comment this and put it on over here, like encapsulation. Okay, so now we will just put on a class. Let it be class be ABC, and over here we're gonna have a data like name equals to RAM. Okay, so this is our data, and now we'll create the object and try to print name. Okay, so we'll just create the object of ABC, test maybe the variable value, ABC is the class name, and we have created the test object over here. So now we're gonna do print test dot name. Now it should give us RAM. Okay, it should give us RAM, and it is giving us RAM. Now we want to secure this data. Okay, we want to secure this data, and we'll just put on double underscore before the variable name. And now if you just print this data, it will throw an error that has no attribute name. Now you must be thinking that when it will be having attribute if it has double underscore. If you write single underscore also, it will give you the same means error, right? It is giving you the same error, right? So now if I make single underscore over here, it will not give us the error because it is exactly the same and it will give us the data. Okay, now I will be just doing this the same for double underscore, and I will just increase an underscore over here. Now I will just execute this, and you will find the same thing, that there has no attribute in the name. So what does this mean? Actually, we have secured this data inside this variable name. Okay, double underscore give us a special security which can't be accessed with the same variable using double underscore also. So this is what data encapsulation is. When you want to store the data in an encapsulated format, we use this data encapsulation. I hope this is clear to you. I'll just comment this and put it on. So with this, we have completed the basics to intermediate of the things like class and object and inheritance, all the things that we have completed. Now we'll step towards making the project-based things. Like we're gonna step towards making a little bit of backend, a little bit of small projects. So these are all things what we're gonna do in this week. So now we'll start with our first project. We have two projects over here. So the first project that we're going to do today, as it's a short and easy to finish, as well as you will understand the things very easier. So that project is FizzBuzz. Now what that project is all about, just let us see. We need to input a set of numbers in a list by user. Now just read the question properly. Input a set of numbers in a list by user. That means there should be one input, and that input should have a set of numbers. Okay, so this is the first thing. Second thing, multiple of 3. If the number is multiple of 3, then it should print fizz. If the number is multiple of 5, then it should print buzz. Okay, and if the number is multiple of 15, it should print fizz buzz. Okay, so this is what it is asking for us. So I'm just giving you time. Just try to understand the concept and take out the logic out of it. Okay, I'm giving you 5 minutes. Just think on it, and then we'll start doing the program. Okay. Okay, I hope you have done with the logics, and now we'll start with the programming one factor. Okay, so we'll just move on over here, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna write fizz buzz. Now we'll just try to execute this code. Like, what is our thing? First of all, our first step is to input a set of numbers in a list by user. Now let the numbers be A, and now I want to input this. So I will just put on input, and I need to have one set of numbers, so I will use dot split. Okay, and I will just write over here, enter three numbers. Enter three numbers, and I need to just put on fizz or a buzz. Okay, so first of all, I need to convert each and every number into integer type. So for that, what I can use the looping part for I in A. Okay, now I will just, what I need to do, I will just A of, okay, I need to do one thing. I equals, I need to create a list. B equals to, and over here I will just do like B equals to int of I. Now this is good. Okay, so this is good, and now I've converted the list in B. Okay, this will not work. B dot append, and inside that I'm gonna pass on the values, and this will work. B dot append int of I, and now I have converted each and everything into B. And now what I will do, I will just print it, like not print it, or else you can print it also. Print B. So this is what I got the data's input. Now second step is to check if it is multiple of 3, multiple of 5, and multiple of 15. So I will just make this logic if, so for this I need to just create a loop first of all for I in B. Now I'm getting the values. Now I will check on, like, if B mod 3 equals to 0, then what I will do, I'll just print fizz. Okay, elif B mod 3 equals to B mod 5 equals to 0, then I want to print buzz. And at last I will just put on else elif, that is better, elif B mod 15 equals to 0, then I want to print fizz buzz. Now this is what we are thinking of to do right over here, I and B, and now we're getting all the data and we are just printing it. That's it. Okay, so according to us it should work. So we'll just execute this. Enter three numbers. We are making a number 12, then with a space 15, then with a space 5. Okay, so we'll just execute this. Now it throws us an error. Now what is an error? Now B is a list type, so over here we made a mistake. We need to replace it with I, because we are just taking each and every element in I. Now we'll just get the data properly. So we'll just execute this once again, and it's asking again for three numbers. I will just execute it. Now you can see for 12 it is fizz. It is absolutely correct. Okay, it is divisible by 3, not divisible by 5, so it is fizz. Now for 15 it should be fizz buzz over here, but it's giving us fizz. And for 5 it's again giving us buzz. This is exactly correct. So but over here when we are calculating for 15, so it's giving fizz. Now what happens over here? 15 is divisible by 3 as well as 15 is divisible by 5. So what happens when 15 is checking that it is divisible by 3 or not? So it is giving us the true value. So once it is giving us a true value, it's printing fizz and it's not executing any of the above below statements, and it is just eliminating the number, terminating the number and moving to the next number. So this is why it's giving us fizz. So for this reason, what we need to do, we need to check the bigger number first. So we'll just check the bigger number first, and we need to check the smaller number later on. We need to check the smaller number later on. We'll just terminate this, print it over here, cut it over here, and print it over here. That's it. So this is what we need to do. And now when we execute the code, so you will find we're getting the exact values on the same thing, like we had 12, 15, and 5, and we will getting fizz, FizzBuzz, and buzz. All are the same. So this is what FizzBuzz project is all about. This is only to understanding the concept of the basics of the project, that if you get certain data, if you are going through this, and these are the mistakes and these are the errors that you need to check out. Okay, so I hope you understood this project. And for today, we are having only this much. We're gonna move on with some other interesting projects in the next lecture. So till then, thank you and bye-bye.